U.S.-based aerospace firm XBow Systems heads to Farnborough. U.S.-based aerospace firm XBow Systems announced it will exhibit at the Farnborough International Airshow, running July 20th through 24 in Hampshire, England, setting up in the Texas USA Pavilion to pitch itself as a faster, more scalable alternative to the handful of companies that have controlled America's solid rocket motor supply for decades. Solid rocket motors are the engines that power everything from small tactical missiles to intercontinental ballistic missiles, generating thrust by burning a rubbery, precast block of solid propellant packed inside a metal casing rather than mixing liquid fuel and oxidizer the way some larger rockets do. For decades, the United States effectively had only two real suppliers capable of building these motors at scale: Northrop Grumman and Aerojet Rocketdyne, now part of L3Harris, a duopoly that former Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment William LaPlante warned Congress in 2023 could take 5 to 10 years to fully replenish depleted missile stockpiles at existing production rates. XBow's pitch to break that bottleneck rests on a manufacturing process the company calls additive manufacturing of solid propellant, essentially treating rocket fuel like a digital file that a printer builds layer by layer rather than a substance poured into a mold and cured for weeks. That approach lets engineers adjust a motor's burn rate or internal geometry by editing a digital blueprint rather than redesigning physical tooling, collapsing a process that traditionally took months into something closer to a software update, and the company has spent the past several years proving the technique can scale beyond a laboratory bench. As defense takes center stage, XBow is built for this moment, delivering the solid rocket motors, energetics, and launch services America and its allies need, at speed and at scale, XBow Systems said in a post announcing its Farnborough appearance. That claim carries real weight given how quickly the Pentagon has moved to back the company. The Air Force Test Center awarded XBow a 4-year, $191.3 million contract in September 2025 for advanced integrated motor manufacturing, part of a broader $225 million round of Pentagon awards specifically aimed at strengthening a solid rocket motor supply chain officials have described as vulnerable to disruption and unable to keep pace with rising global demand. That followed an earlier $64 million contract in 2023 positioning XBow as a second supplier of large-diameter solid rocket motors for Army and Navy hypersonic weapons programs, plus a separate Air Force Research Laboratory contract, later expanded to $28.67 million, funding development of the company's 3D-printed propellant technology. In November 2025, the company completed installation of a full production version of its additive manufacturing system at a new facility in Luling, Texas, a milestone it described as commissioning the nation's newest solid rocket motor manufacturing plant, and by May 2026 the company announced it had earned certification for full production operations there. Developed in partnership with the Air Force Research Laboratory's Rapid Energetics and Advanced Rocket Manufacturing Program. The company has also delivered on real customer orders during that ramp-up, surpassing 1,100 delivered solid rocket motors and rocket-assisted takeoff kits under a contract with EVEX Aerospace announced in April. Work XBow has described as the first high-volume use of additive manufactured solid propellant for a Group 3 unmanned aircraft system, the military's classification for larger tactical drones. Analysis published by the Observer Research Foundation, an international policy think tank, has projected that XBow's manufacturing approach could eventually add somewhere between 30,000 and 50,000 solid rocket motors annually to combined American and Allied stockpiles once fully scaled, a figure that, if realized, would represent a dramatic expansion of a supply base the Pentagon has spent years warning cannot keep up with demand from conflicts in Ukraine, Israel, and Iran. Founded in 2016 and emerging from stealth mode in 2022, the Albuquerque-based aerospace firm has attracted substantial private investment alongside its government contracts, closing a $70 million Series B funding round in 2024 backed by Razor's Edge Ventures, Lockheed Martin, and Boeing, before expanding that round to $105 million by May 2025 with additional Lockheed Martin backing, a relationship that has since grown into a formal strategic partnership between XBow and one of the defense industry's largest prime contractors. Farnborough gives XBow a stage to pitch that growth story directly to international buyers, not just the Pentagon. American allies have faced the same solid rocket motor supply crunch domestically, and a company positioning itself as a faster, more flexible manufacturer has an obvious incentive to court foreign militaries looking to diversify their own missile supply chains beyond whatever legacy suppliers they currently depend on.